everyone, it's December, so we are talking about reInvent pretty much all month long. Matt Asay here with Tech Republic. I'm Karen Roby, of course. And Matt, there's a lot to unpack here in terms of information, announcements, and what people need to know. I think the best thing would be for you to just, highlight some of the important points, why it's important, what people need to know. You can just take off from there.
Sure. So you said a month. It's a month that feels like it's been going on, not for the whole pandemic, but it feels like a long time. I don't know. There's a few different things. Maybe the news that got the most attention from people is Babbelfish for Postgres, and that's it makes it possible for developers to move their Microsoft SQL Server workloads to Postgres without changing their application code. So think of it as a key step in database migration. The way that we talk about it and the way that I think about it is it's a way for developers to get more Postgres in their lives. And Postgres has been this increasingly popular open source database that developers love. In fact, I think the last 4 or 5 years on Stack Overflow, when they surveyed developers, that's been the most loved relational database for years and years and years. So it's good. It's good news. Another significant announcement was around EKS distro. So EKS is Amazon's or AWS's Elastic Kubernetes service. It's a way of running Kubernetes without having to manage Kubernetes. And EKS distro is the same distribution of Kubernetes that AWS runs for customers, and now they have the ability to run EKS or EKS distro within their data center, or frankly anywhere else that they wanted. If they wanted to run it on Azure or Google Cloud, they could. So it's a way of running the Amazon distribution of Kubernetes anywhere that a customer wants. There's a number of other things, but those are the two big announcements from reInvent so far.
Okay, and Matt, when we talk about, or as you mentioned, it feels like it goes on for a long time. This is not just a 3-day event where announcements are made and then we're done and we analyze it from there. So this is something that goes on for a good amount of time. When you look at what information has come out, is this what people you think expected and where they figured we'd be and what we'd be hearing about right now?
I don't know. Like, that's actually those two announcements that I mentioned, I suspect no one was expecting, because EKS distro is there's this thought that AWS doesn't do hybrid, but of course we have for a while, and this flies in the face of that. It's you can run Kubernetes, the Amazon AWS distribution of Kubernetes, anywhere you want. And Babbelfish probably, I don't know, it's not completely unexpected, because we've open sourced other things like the .NET porting assistant that allows companies to more easily move from .NET framework to .NET Core and then run .NET on Linux. So we've been open sourcing things for some time that enable people, customers, to get away from proprietary software and run more open source. So in that respect, it shouldn't have been a surprise, but based on the response, I think it kind of was a surprise.
All right, and Matt, before I let you go here, anything else worth noting? Anything else announced that people will be interested in?
Well, so it's always been the case that there's a lot to announce during one event, and so AWS has tended to announce things both before and after reInvent, and that's the same. That's the same this year. So, for example, a few weeks ago, AWS announced in preview its OpenTelemetry distribution and contributions that AWS is making to OpenTelemetry, Prometheus, and in the observability space, or like think about it as monitoring, for lack of a better way of saying it. which was significant because it's AWS made a commitment to 100% upstream contributions to the open source community, and that's been something that people have criticized AWS around and said they don't do enough upstream contributions. So I thought that was significant. And frankly, there's been a number of little smaller things that, like, there was a announcement yesterday about the S3A open source collaboration, or collaboration with the S3A community around improving. S3A makes it possible for Hadoop to speak to the Amazon S3, the storage service. And there was some interesting collaboration that AWS did with Cloudera, not exclusively Cloudera, but with Cloudera engineers and others from NetApp, and I thought that was kind of interesting. It's kind of belies the point that AWS doesn't do much in the area of open source, and I think it's a good indication that the company has been doing things. But and I suspect if you keep watching reInvent, which feels like it's going to go on for, it's certainly going to go on for another 2 weeks, and it feels like it's going to go on for another 2 years. In my shoes, I think you'll see even more open source related announcements.
Very good. All right. Well, of course, for much more on reInvent, make sure you stick with Tech Republic. Matt, thanks for being with us, and thanks for all of you guys for out there for watching.